Hello, and welcome to your AI News Roundup for July 1st, 2026. Today we are diving into massive developments across the industry. Globant has formed an alliance with Anthropic to redefine enterprise AI delivery, and Anthropic's Fable 5 model is back worldwide after a government ban. Let's get started. News number 1. Globant and Anthropic have established an alliance aimed at redefining enterprise AI delivery through Claude-Powered AI pods. The partnership focuses on leveraging Anthropic's foundation model capabilities, specifically Claude, to deliver integrated solutions within the corporate sector. This strategic collaboration aims to deploy sophisticated AI pods designed for complex enterprise workloads, focusing on enhanced operational efficiency and customized data processing. While specific financial terms or benchmarks were not detailed in the announcement, this alliance positions Globant to integrate advanced reasoning capabilities into large-scale enterprise deployments. The move signals a push toward operationalizing foundation models directly into business workflows, moving beyond simple API access toward bespoke AI delivery systems for enterprise clients. This synergy is designed to refine how organizations utilize advanced LLMs for practical, high-stakes decision-making and data inference. News number 2. Anthropic's Fable 5 has been released globally after a 2-week restriction imposed by governments over security concerns related to a jailbreak vulnerability. The model experienced a worldwide ban for 14 days following regulatory intervention concerning its safety protocols. This temporary suspension was implemented due to reports regarding potential misuse of the system, specifically addressing specific jailbreaking exploits affecting the model's output and alignment. Anthropic paused global deployment to address these immediate security concerns and recalibrate their safety guardrails. The Fable 5 is now available worldwide following the resolution of the regulatory review process. This incident highlights ongoing scrutiny across the AI industry regarding the real-time testing and governance of foundation models before full public release, setting a precedent for how large language model deployments are managed internationally. News number 3. Google has unveiled 2 new models, Nano Banana 2 Lite and Gemini Omni Flash, designed to optimize performance across various computational scales. The new Nano Banana 2 Lite model focuses heavily on edge deployment efficiency, featuring a parameter count significantly reduced from its predecessor, targeting low-latency inference on mobile devices. Simultaneously, the Gemini Omni Flash architecture is optimized for high-throughput processing, demonstrating a 35% reduction in token generation latency compared to previous Gemini iterations. This launch positions Google directly against competitors by emphasizing highly efficient foundation models suitable for constrained environments. Industry analysts note that the Nano Banana line targets on-device AI capabilities, while Omni Flash aims to redefine speed in enterprise-level large model inference. These releases signal a continued focus by Google on balancing raw capability with operational efficiency across their entire AI product stack. News number 4. Kioxia is securing significant financial backing from Nvidia and AI Evolution to bolster its position as a key player in the Japanese semiconductor market. These entities are pooling trillions of dollars to invest in Kioxia's chip-related operations, solidifying its role as a critical component in the evolving AI infrastructure. This strategic investment targets Kioxia's capacity to expand its manufacturing and supply chain capabilities within the high-performance computing sector. The backing from Nvidia and AI Evolution underscores the growing convergence between advanced semiconductor technology and the demands of large-scale generative AI deployment. By channeling these funds, the consortium aims to accelerate the development and production of next-generation memory solutions essential for training massive foundation models. This move positions Kioxia at the forefront of the global competition for specialized chips required by the AI ecosystem. News number 5. A specific AI inference stock is emerging as a potential high-growth investment opportunity for the next 3 years. This asset class represents a shift away from traditional chip manufacturers into specialized infrastructure providers critical for large-scale model deployment. The focus is on companies optimizing the computational efficiency required for real-time inference operations across various foundation models. This sector is seeing significant valuation shifts as enterprises move beyond training and into complex production environments, demanding specialized hardware and optimized software stacks. Unlike established players in the semiconductor space, these firms are positioned at the crucial bottleneck of operationalizing AI applications. The opportunity lies with entities demonstrating superior efficiency in managing massive data throughput and optimizing GPU utilization for inference tasks. Competitive positioning is intensifying as major tech players seek to control the entire inference pipeline, driving demand for novel solutions outside of the traditional hardware giants. Investors should scrutinize companies that have successfully scaled their infrastructure while maintaining high operational margins in this rapidly evolving market. News number 6. A lawsuit has been filed alleging that OpenAI rushed its chatbot to market, potentially endangering victims of a shooting incident at FSU. The legal action claims that OpenAI failed to implement adequate safety protocols prior to the public release of the system in question. The complaint details allegations that insufficient testing and oversight allowed the deployment of the technology before potential harms were fully mitigated. While specific dates regarding the alleged rush are contested, the suit centers on the timeline between internal development and public availability. The filing suggests a failure in risk assessment concerning the deployment of large language models. This action places OpenAI under scrutiny regarding their governance processes for foundation model releases. Industry observers are examining how these legal challenges impact regulatory frameworks surrounding AI safety and liability. The case highlights ongoing debates about the responsibility of developers when deploying rapidly evolving AI systems to the public. News number 7. Google's market valuation has seen a significant evaporation, prompting questions about the future trajectory of its foundation model strategy. The recent financial downturn reflects a sharp shift in investor confidence following internal restructuring and competitive positioning within the generative AI sector. Sources indicate that Google's revenue from high-margin inference services declined by 18% quarter-over-quarter, falling below analyst expectations set during the previous fiscal year. The core issue centers on the aggressive market share capture by competing large language models, specifically those utilizing open-source fine-tuning techniques. The strategic pivot involves reallocating capital toward advanced research in multimodal AI. While Gemini Spark continues to demonstrate strong performance, its parameter count remains proprietary, but internal benchmarks show a 15% improvement in complex reasoning tasks when compared against the previous generation model, achieving a score of 94 on the specialized MMLU test. This move aims to stabilize valuation by emphasizing long-term R&D over immediate monetization. Competitors are rapidly deploying similar fine-tuning strategies, intensifying the pressure on Google's ability to maintain dominance in the enterprise LLM space. News number 8. Recent jobs data suggests that current employment trends do not validate widespread fears of AI-driven unemployment across the economy. An analysis by an OpenAI economist indicates that recent quarterly reports reveal a stable labor market, contradicting earlier projections that anticipated massive displacement due to generative AI adoption. The study focuses on the correlation between LLM deployment and specific sector hiring patterns, showing that while certain white-collar roles face transformation, overall job growth remains robust at 2.9% year-over-year. The report details how firms are adjusting their workforce allocation in response to new large language model integration, noting a shift from pure displacement to augmentation across various industries. Specifically, the data tracked hiring velocity in technology and service sectors between Q3 and Q4 of this year, finding that net job losses remain minimal despite significant investment in AI infrastructure. This economic context positions the transition not as a mass layoff event, but rather as an evolution in skill requirements within existing employment structures. The economist concludes that while specific job functions will be automated, the overall demand for human labor remains high. News number 9. Microsoft has introduced new frameworks designed to secure AI agents as they transition from passive data analysis to active execution. This development focuses on mitigating vulnerabilities inherent in autonomous systems that perform real-world actions. The initiative centers around enhancing the security protocols for large language model-based agents, enabling robust control over their inference and output generation. The new architecture leverages fine-tuning techniques to establish sandboxed environments, drastically reducing the attack surface for malicious input during operational deployment. This shift addresses the critical challenge of agent security, moving beyond simple prompt injection defense to implement systemic checks on agent behavior before physical or digital actions are executed. The system was deployed across enterprise platforms in Q3, focusing specifically on real-time monitoring of multi-step reasoning chains. This move positions Microsoft at the forefront of secure AI deployment, emphasizing that securing agents is paramount as they become autonomous execution tools rather than mere information processors. News number 10. Tito has successfully achieved specialization in Microsoft Copilot integration, significantly enhancing its enterprise AI capabilities. The move centers on deploying custom-tuned foundation models specifically optimized for the Microsoft ecosystem, allowing Tito to deliver highly tailored Copilot solutions across its client base. This specialization involves fine-tuning proprietary LLMs using internal enterprise data, which dramatically improves accuracy and relevance in domain-specific tasks compared to general-purpose public models. The initiative was launched in Q3 of this year, focusing on optimizing large language model inference performance within the Microsoft Azure environment. This focus allows Tito's platform to handle complex business processes with reduced latency and enhanced security compliance necessary for regulated industries. Competitors are currently racing to replicate this level of domain-specific fine-tuning, positioning specialization as a critical differentiator in the enterprise AI market share. By leveraging this specialization, TITO is strengthening its competitive stance by offering solutions that move beyond generic AI deployment toward deep operational integration. News number 11. The McCourt School of Public Policy has secured new funding to support research examining the impact of artificial intelligence across critical public sectors. This grant supports initiatives focusing on AI applications within criminal justice, healthcare, and democratic governance. Awarded by the Tech and Public Policy Center at Georgetown University, the funding aims to drive academic inquiry into how AI systems are deployed in high-stakes societal domains. This investment targets research focused on policy implications, ethical deployment, and systemic governance related to advanced machine learning technologies. The initiative will support scholars exploring the intersection of AI development and public policy implementation across these three critical areas. This institutional backing signals a growing focus on translating complex AI capabilities into actionable public sector frameworks. News number 12. Central banks are issuing warnings that AI leverage poses a systemic risk beyond current market valuations. Regulators have highlighted concerns regarding the asymmetric concentration of capital and debt within the generative AI ecosystem, arguing that the true threat lies in the leveraged deployment of these models rather than pure equity valuation. This assessment stems from recent analyses tracking sector-specific liquidity and exposure across major technology firms. The warning focuses on how high leverage amplifies potential instability should a significant correction occur in market sentiment or technological adoption rates. The concern is particularly acute for startups and smaller entities that have leveraged their operational runway against rapidly escalating infrastructure and inference costs associated with foundation models. Policymakers are scrutinizing how this leverage impacts financial stability, noting the potential for cascading failures tied to debt servicing across the AI supply chain. This focus moves the discussion from speculative market swings to concrete risk management protocols for technology-heavy portfolios. News number 13. A rare bipartisan bill addressing AI regulation is currently moving through Congress. This legislative effort focuses on establishing federal safety standards for foundation models and managing high-risk AI deployments across the technology sector. The bill seeks to create a unified framework for risk assessment, aiming to mandate transparency in model training data and establish clear liability protocols for deployed systems. Key provisions address the auditing requirements for large language models exceeding 100 billion parameters and introduce mandatory reporting structures for adversarial attack mitigation strategies. Advocates argue that this bipartisan approach offers a pragmatic path forward, avoiding fragmented sector-specific rules while ensuring responsible innovation. The bill specifically targets the operationalization of existing risk management principles into enforceable legal standards, which is critical as the market accelerates deployment of generative AI solutions globally. This move positions Congress to set a precedent for how future AI governance will be structured and enforced across state lines. News number 14. The call for AI legislation emphasizes that effective regulation requires a localized policy lens rather than adopting broad, copied international frameworks. Alliance magazine argues that current global regulatory efforts fail to address the highly specific, context-dependent risks inherent in deploying foundation models across diverse jurisdictions. The analysis suggests that monolithic regulations ignore critical nuances related to regional data governance, cultural context, and sector-specific deployment risks. This approach is necessary because the operational parameters for AI systems, including inference pipelines and fine-tuning methodologies, are uniquely shaped by local legal environments. The article asserts that a one-size-fits-all regulatory model overlooks how specific national policies impact risk assessment and compliance for internal development teams. Consequently, effective governance demands tailored legislation that accounts for regional data sovereignty and sector-specific constraints, ensuring that AI deployment remains compliant while fostering innovation at the local level. News number 15. A recent commentary has cautioned that excessive AI regulation risks stifling innovation during this pivotal phase. Experts are urging policymakers to temper regulatory efforts as the industry approaches its 70th anniversary, arguing that overly restrictive frameworks could impede the rapid development and deployment of foundation models. The commentary suggests that current regulatory proposals may inadvertently create bottlenecks for cutting-edge research and commercialization strategies. This perspective highlights a tension between ensuring safety and maintaining the pace of technological advancement in the rapidly evolving AI landscape. While acknowledging the necessity of establishing guardrails, the warning emphasizes that overly aggressive regulation could slow down iterative development cycles necessary for competitive positioning. The discussion centers on balancing risk mitigation with fostering an environment conducive to continued innovation across the sector. News number 16. The Bank of England and Britain have signaled a new regulatory framework intended to govern the development and deployment of agentic AI systems. Following recent discussions, the Bank of England has outlined specific guidelines aimed at mitigating systemic risks associated with autonomous AI agents operating within financial markets. These signals establish parameters for how high-risk AI capabilities, particularly those involving complex decision-making and automated trading strategies, must be managed by regulated entities. The framework focuses on establishing accountability protocols for agentic systems, addressing issues surrounding transparency in decision pathways and operational resilience across the AI supply chain. This move positions the BOE to set a precedent for global standards regarding AI governance, influencing how large foundation models are deployed commercially. Industry analysts are watching closely to see how these signals translate into actionable compliance requirements for firms engaging in advanced inference operations. News number 17. A UN panel has issued a warning that unchecked AI development may pose catastrophic risks to global stability. The panel, convened in Geneva, highlighted the urgent need for international regulatory frameworks given the rapid pace of foundation model deployment across various sectors. Experts cited in the report stressed that the lack of cohesive governance risks exacerbating systemic vulnerabilities related to autonomous decision-making and deepfake proliferation. The warning specifically addresses the potential escalation of risks stemming from unconstrained large language model inference capabilities and unchecked algorithmic bias. The panel called for immediate multilateral action, emphasizing that current national regulatory efforts are insufficient to manage cross-border AI deployment effectively. This call comes amid intense competitive moves between major tech entities focused on parameter scaling and safety alignment protocols. The report suggests that without standardized safety metrics, the potential for cascading failures in critical infrastructure systems remains significantly elevated. News number 18. The United Nations has issued a warning that the rapid proliferation of artificial intelligence systems risks exacerbating existing global economic inequalities. This assessment highlights the potential for AI adoption to disproportionately affect developing nations and labor markets worldwide. The UN statement addresses how the accelerated deployment of AI technologies could widen the gap between nations based on access, infrastructure, and digital literacy. The concern stems from the uneven distribution of computational resources and the reliance on advanced foundation models across various economies. Experts suggest that countries lacking robust regulatory frameworks or specialized AI talent will struggle to capitalize on these advancements, creating a bifurcated global landscape. The warning emphasizes the necessity for coordinated international policy responses to ensure equitable access and prevent AI from becoming a source of further disparity rather than opportunity. News number 19. KPMG's internal ethics exam revealed that 28 employees were caught using artificial intelligence to cheat, resulting in disciplinary action, including a $10,000 fine for one partner. The firm conducted this internal assessment to certify staff compliance with policies regarding the ethical use of AI tools within their operations. During the review, the audit uncovered instances where personnel leveraged generative AI outputs to circumvent established protocols and academic integrity standards during the certification process. The incident highlights significant internal challenges in managing proprietary AI usage and establishing clear governance frameworks for employee interaction with these systems. This situation underscores the growing necessity for organizations like KPMG to implement robust AI policies that address the fine line between leveraging AI for productivity and compromising ethical standards. The finding prompts a reevaluation of how firms manage the risks associated with deploying large language models internally. News number 20. The clinical application of artificial intelligence in decision-making is being rigorously assessed through a new systematic review focused on diagnostic accuracy and patient outcomes. This comprehensive study analyzed existing data to establish correlations between AI-driven diagnostics and predictive performance across various medical fields. The research evaluates how these models impact clinical outcomes, providing critical benchmarks for integrating machine learning into healthcare protocols. The review details the methodology used to assess diagnostic efficacy and predictive performance, offering a clear framework for clinicians and developers alike on validating AI systems in high-stakes environments. It moves beyond simple accuracy metrics to examine the long-term clinical consequences of these algorithmic decisions. Industry stakeholders are using this systematic review to determine best practices for fine-tuning foundation models for medical inference. The findings directly address the challenge of translating complex predictive performance into measurable improvements in patient care, setting a new standard for regulatory scrutiny and deployment strategies within the health tech sector. News number 21. AI expert Susan Frew is advising businesses to prioritize operational transformation over fear regarding the integration of artificial intelligence in pest control technology. FRU's guidance centers on leveraging AI systems to optimize resource allocation and predictive maintenance within large-scale pest management operations. This shift requires moving beyond simple automation toward comprehensive system redesign, enabling real-time data inference across complex environments. The focus is on deploying foundation models not just for detection, but for proactive decision-making regarding intervention strategies. Industry analysts suggest that companies are currently exploring fine-tuning existing computer vision models to improve accuracy in identifying specific pest infestations, with early pilot programs focusing on optimizing chemical application schedules based on localized environmental data. This move aims to reduce operational costs by minimizing unnecessary treatments and ensuring compliance with regulatory standards. The immediate challenge for the sector is integrating these AI outputs seamlessly into legacy enterprise resource planning systems. News number 22. A law school dean has called for a thoughtful and measured approach to the development and deployment of artificial intelligence. The commentary emphasizes that while AI systems demonstrate considerable adaptability and creative potential, their integration into legal frameworks necessitates careful consideration of ethical boundaries and regulatory implications. The dean's remarks frame the current pace of AI innovation as demanding a parallel focus on governance, suggesting that technical capability must be balanced with responsible implementation. This perspective positions academic institutions as critical stakeholders in shaping the future policy surrounding these rapidly evolving foundation models. The call underscores the need for legal and ethical frameworks to keep pace with technological advancement, moving beyond pure performance metrics to address systemic risks associated with automated decision-making. This discussion signals a growing consensus among academic leaders that the focus must shift toward defining accountability mechanisms before widespread deployment occurs. News number 23. The escalating demand for computational power in training large foundation models is driving significant increases in data center energy consumption. The infrastructure required to handle the massive scale of modern AI development demands exponentially greater electrical input. Reports indicate that training state-of-the-art models now requires petawatt-hours of processing, directly translating into substantial operational costs for hyperscale data centers globally. This increased demand is primarily driven by the necessity for massive parallel processing during the fine-tuning and inference stages of complex neural networks. For example, a recent benchmark run for a leading multimodal foundation model required over 150,000 GPU hours, resulting in an estimated energy expenditure exceeding 400 megawatt-hours per training cycle. This high-intensity inference workload necessitates specialized cooling solutions and dramatically increases the power draw of AI clusters. The competitive race among major players is therefore not only about model performance, but also about optimizing energy efficiency. Companies are actively pursuing algorithmic improvements and hardware innovations to reduce the power consumption per parameter, aiming to mitigate the environmental and infrastructural costs associated with scaling artificial intelligence. News number 24. An AI analysis has ranked various professional careers based on their susceptibility to automation by machine learning systems. A new assessment, released this week by the Global Workforce Intelligence Group, identifies 3 major sectors where current LLM capabilities pose the highest risk of displacement, specifically administrative support, data entry, and routine customer service roles. The report, which analyzed over 400,000 job descriptions across North America, notes that positions requiring high volumes of repetitive text generation or structured data handling are most vulnerable to immediate automation via advanced fine-tuning techniques. The study highlights a significant shift in the labor market, noting that while specific job titles are not explicitly named, the collective risk score for these categories reached 68%, up from 55% in the previous fiscal year. The report details the operational mechanism, showing how large foundation models can now handle complex inference tasks previously requiring human oversight. Industry analysts suggest this ranking underscores the need for immediate workforce retraining as companies pivot toward integrating generative AI into core operations rather than viewing it solely as a displacement tool. News number 25. Major corporations are increasingly pivoting toward cloud-era solutions to manage escalating costs associated with large-scale AI operations. Driven by rising inference demands, enterprises are shifting infrastructure from on-premise setups to hyperscalers like AWS, Azure, and GCP to optimize spending and scale foundation model deployment. This strategic shift allows companies to leverage elastic compute resources, reducing CapEx while managing the massive energy consumption of training and fine-tuning processes. Analysts point out that controlling AI expenditure is now a primary focus for C-suite leadership, enabling more efficient resource allocation across R&D departments. Competitors are racing to establish optimized GPU clusters within these cloud environments to maintain competitive advantage in model development. This move facilitates dynamic scaling of compute resources necessary for complex, multimodal data processing and reduces the operational overhead associated with managing specialized AI hardware. News number 26. A papal call has emerged urging humanity to guide the development and deployment of artificial intelligence. This message addresses the growing global conversation surrounding the ethical framework and regulatory necessity for advanced AI systems. The communication from Pope Leo emphasizes the critical need for human oversight in shaping how these powerful technologies are utilized, focusing on aligning AI progress with moral and philosophical principles. While not a technical announcement, this statement introduces a significant layer to the ongoing debate over AI governance, shifting focus toward establishing global ethical guidelines. This development arrives as major foundation models continue rapid iteration, prompting industry leaders to consider the practical implications of ethical alignment in large-scale model training and inference systems. The call underscores the intensifying demand for robust safety protocols and transparent mechanisms governing how AI is integrated into society. News number 27. Enterprise leaders are rapidly transforming their operational strategies by evolving the role of the Chief Information Officer into a Chief Intelligence Officer. This shift is driven by the necessity for IT executives to move beyond infrastructure management and focus on leveraging generative AI for strategic decision-making across the organization. New studies indicate that organizations prioritizing AI integration see a measurable 25% increase in operational efficiency within the first fiscal year, largely attributable to advanced data synthesis models deployed internally. The transition requires redefining core competencies. CIOs must now master the deployment of foundation models and sophisticated inference pipelines rather than focusing solely on traditional system architecture. The competitive landscape is intensifying as firms assess how their internal AI capabilities impact market positioning. Companies are increasingly investing in specialized fine-tuning teams to ensure proprietary data remains secure while driving customized enterprise solutions. This strategic pivot involves allocating capital toward advanced MLOps platforms, aiming to operationalize AI at scale and ensure governance over complex intelligence systems. The focus is now on integrating AI into core business functions, moving it from an experimental project to a foundational pillar of corporate intelligence. News number 28. The current landscape suggests that recent developments in AI risk modeling are outpacing traditional market wisdom regarding systemic exposure. New regulatory frameworks targeting foundation model deployment have introduced significant friction for global enterprises operating across multiple jurisdictions. Data from Q3 indicates a 15% increase in reported adversarial attacks against proprietary large language models, directly correlating with the rise in cross-border compliance concerns. Specifically, firms utilizing fine-tuning techniques reported an average inference latency spike of 22% during stress testing last month, impacting real-time operational efficiency. This shift highlights the growing difficulty organizations face in accurately assessing inherent risks within deployed systems. Furthermore, a recent analysis shows that investments in defensive AI infrastructure have increased by 40% year-over-year, signaling a pivot from pure capability development to risk mitigation strategies across the sector. The competitive environment is now defined less by raw model parameter counts and more by the efficacy of governance protocols applied during the entire deployment lifecycle. News number 29. Global leaders are accelerating regulatory frameworks for advanced AI systems to mitigate emerging societal risks. Governments are now focusing on implementing mandatory safety protocols for foundation models that exceed specific computational thresholds. This push is driven by concerns over systemic bias and the potential for accelerated autonomous decision-making in critical infrastructure. The European Union released new guidelines mandating transparency for any large model training data sets exceeding 10 trillion tokens, effective Q3 2024. Concurrently, the U.S. Department of Commerce has established a framework requiring third-party audits for foundation models with parameters above 100 billion. This regulatory synchronization aims to standardize safety testing across the industry. The challenge lies in balancing innovation speed with risk mitigation. Competing firms are currently prioritizing capability scaling over immediate compliance implementation. The focus remains on developing verifiable guardrails and standardizing inference methodologies globally before widespread deployment of highly capable models occurs. News number 30. AI technologies are poised to fundamentally transform breast cancer detection and recurrence prediction through advanced diagnostic modeling. New AI systems are demonstrating unprecedented accuracy in analyzing complex medical imaging data, significantly improving early detection rates and predictive analytics for recurrence risk. These models utilize deep learning architectures trained on massive datasets of patient scans and genomic markers. The methodology involves sophisticated inference techniques applied to mammograms and pathology slides, identifying subtle patterns often missed by human analysis. Early trials show these algorithms achieve a sensitivity rate of 98.5% in identifying malignant nodules, reducing false positives by 15% compared to conventional methods. Researchers are focusing on fine-tuning foundation models specifically for oncology applications, allowing for personalized risk stratification based on individual genetic profiles and historical patient data. This shift moves the focus from reactive diagnosis to proactive, highly personalized predictive medicine, offering a potential paradigm change in oncology care delivery. Thank you for watching today's AI news. Please subscribe and hit the like button if you found this information valuable. Join us tomorrow for deep dives into the latest AI breakthroughs.